Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Trador Nevets, titled The Call of the Wild. And if we switch over to here, Trador Nevets being the artist name off of the This Is a Vibe YouTube channel here. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it. Oh, we've got a line to kick things off. Nice. I love the vibrato there. Fantastic work. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to confirm the vocals being on the left side of the stereo field here. It's an unusual thing to have because usually the vocals would be in the center of the stereo field between the left and right headphones. But it's interesting to have them here on the side. Good call and response there. I like that we're messing around with a different halftime feel and different drum beat here as well. And we've got that classic fade out at the end. I'm going to just take another quick listen through the lyrics, and then we're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named, if I'm not mistaken, Trador Nevets, titled The Call of the Wild. What do we think this track is about? I think it's about someone who is singing about the call of the wild, the thrill of the hunt, kind of likening it to a lion. You know, a lion on the hunt, having that passion for adventure, for spirit, to kind of close things, you know, to go out and catch your prey, etc., and to, I suppose, make the most of life, unless this is sort of being equivocated to more like a kind of an animalistic kind of thing, which is cool too. One of the things I dig about this is the kind of like that kind of 80s kind of retro style of vocals alongside it. I think that a lot of what's going on with the vibrato on the vocals there, as well as the call and response with the choir behind them, the backing vocals, is great. The style of it is very, very typical for the era, but I think that the way we're singing it is solid, and we show good vocal technique. I think that the melodies that we chose as well are very palatable, and they make sense. And I think that we kind of sung it away again, which is appropriate for the style. And I think that we kind of sang it away, which kind of is glorious as the story we're trying to tell. So moving on from the vocal performance itself, It's the track itself, which has a really interesting vibe. Like there's sounds of the lion kind of roaring in different parts, which I think makes sense, especially when you've got the audio-visual experience of like the lion on the page and everything like that. But I think that it's the use of the guitars, the bass drums, and also the occasional organ and some of the call and responses or second halves of each go through the chorus are great. And we did have like a kind of cool little leady guitar solo near the end. We had variety with the drum beats going between normal and double like halftime. And that interlude section, there was some interesting double kick, snare, and sort of hi-hat patterns. We explore really neatly the drum kit throughout the piece there with some interesting on-beat and syncopated parts with the crashes, the kicks and snare parts. And we typically have a 1/8, like an 1/8 note groove to it that I think the rhythm guitar parts match really neatly. There's some chugged power chord parts and some pentatonics and occasional chromatics, which are mirrored by the bass guitarist, and they flow along with that neatly as well. And you can dissect and kind of figure out who's doing what in a way that's meaningful. So I've ultimately got no real complaints about how things are done. I think that there's an interesting coloration at the end there with the way that we kind of take a lead or like a detour from the main riff with those lead guitar sections there that I feel is quite creative. And fading out with that is an interesting choice, almost like we've kind of had a big adventure, our Call of the Hunter, we're kind of resting afterward. So I think, it's well played. There's an interesting sound to it. Like some of the sounds are unexpected for the instruments used, but I appreciate the musicality of what we're trying to accomplish in terms of the actual note choices, chord progressions, and stuff like that. And I think they make well, especially for the era that we're trying to go with. And I think ultimately, like structurally, that's the last one I want to talk about there. I think that at 3 minutes, it's short enough that like you can get a feeling of a few of the different verse sections and chorus parts. And then you have that lead part at the end there where it kind of knows that it's had a few times of a similar thing and it tries to do something different. And I feel like that's just such a smart move. Often, a lot of the time, you'll maybe even do a wraparound into the original hook one more time and try and get as much as you can after it. But the problem with doing that is that it's predictable or expected. Ending it like the Call of the Wild did is like, oh, what are we doing now? What is this? It's kind of fascinating. And I appreciate that. So ultimately, I think structurally, instrumentally, with the performance of the parts, as well as vocally, those are the kind of three main things I think I appreciate about the track. In terms of constructive feedback, there were parts where like the lion roar was considerably more kind of like noticeable, audible than other parts within the mix. It kind of seemed like we had like a volume at the start and it kind of went down, like things were kind of being clipped with the side chaining or something like that of certain components like the kick. So I'm not quite sure what was going on there. It wasn't distracting as more just like I feel like if things were more even in the mix, I think that it'll be awesome. But then if it was also meant to be sort of like stylized and designed like this, it's fine. And also I'm aware that not everything has to be a complete regimented, sterile kind of everything is explicitly the same level kind of example. You know, music can have range and differentiation like that. So ultimately, I think this was a pretty good first impression. Again, Trador Nevets music. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. This is my review of this track titled Call the Wild. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and a YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need their help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.